welcome to the Real Talk podcast. As your host, I'm Caitlin, and welcome back. And today's podcast, we're outside. It's so nice out. But today we're going to talk about relationships and how you can be in shitty relationships and you can be in good ones. And we're just going to get right into it because, quite frankly, we're going to talk about it, like, if a guy should be friends with a girl, or if the other way around, and if it's okay. I think it's okay, and I'll explain on why, and then we're going to just give a life update. So, I know you guys I don't think y'all can, see me very well. So, life update, I am back. You may not even see me. I don't even know. I don't know. I'm back, and we're vibing, and a few things have happened. I feel like, for instance, life definitely, took a toll, just, mentally, just realizing that, I have to get my shit together, just because it's hard being a kid, but I'm no longer a kid anymore, which sucks, because that's fucking stupid. But a lot of you guys have asked me, I have questions, and I'm going to answer all of them, today. So, let's answer them. So, the first question I get asked a bunch of freaking times throughout the entire day. I have so many questions. Is everything okay? I'm worried about you. That is one of the main things I'm asked, all the time. Yes, everything is okay. I like to stay off of social media, just personally, because I feel like if I'm glued to my phone on social media, my life is just going to go downhill. Another question I get asked all the time is, are you in a relationship? I am not in a relationship, just because I haven't found a right guy, or yes, I've talked to a bunch of guys, obviously, but I haven't, communicated with a bunch, Another question I get asked a lot, is a question I get asked a lot is sorry, I'm trying to find it because I literally just had it. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. A question I get asked a lot is, do you prefer looks or personality? In my opinion, I prefer personality. My type is a cowboy. You also have to be tall. You also have to be athletic. You also have to be, outgoing and adventurous and, want to go travel the world. I want a guy where this guy has no fear, but if he has a fear, he can get over the fear. That's what I want to see in a guy. One friend I'm very thankful for, I would say, is probably Carlin and Michaela, and probably Carly, or even Trisha or Lily. I know they are watching this podcast, and also I'm very thankful for my siblings. Every single one of them, they have supported me through everything, so I definitely would say that they are one of the biggest impacts. Another question I get, what's one friend you think supports you the most? I think Trisha and Lily are the main people who have always supported me. Also Carlin and Michaela, and once again, my siblings and family and friends who have known me for years have always supported me the most. A song that you listen to the most. I think the song I listen to the most is Tattoos by Natalie Jane right now. Yeah, that's probably a main one. I feel like it's a pretty big one. Um, uh, another question I get asked or get like asked all the freaking time, and I love it, is who are your best girlfriends? So my best girlfriends are probably Trisha, Lily, Caitlin, other Caitlin, Destiny, and probably once again my sisters and my brothers. I'm very close with everyone in my family. Um, Another, like, I have a lot of, like, I love everyone, and I just love being around them very frequently. And quite frankly, they're just, they're good. My family is a very close family where I may not, like, I have, I have very, I have always had doubts about, like, where do you, like, see yourself in 5 years or whatever it may be. Normally, I would answer, obviously, and quite frankly, I feel like I answer, but I answer these questions just because I want people to get to know the real me and not the fake me. Um, because not everyone on social media is real. Not everybody on social media is fake. Social media is fake majority of the time. Another question I get asked a lot is, are you getting a tattoo? I am getting a tattoo in July. This tattoo I've been wanting, but it's a very sentimental tattoo. I don't think I'll change my mind on this tattoo. It's gonna say life is a beautiful struggle. Uh, and I feel like life is a beautiful struggle. Life is also very precious, and good things come with patience. A friend told me that recently, and it does. It does come with patience, and it does take time. And I know it's not what a lot of people want to hear, but that day when this person told me, I was like, I needed that. I needed that reassurance, and I needed just a break. And I feel like if you never jump in a puddle, you're never gonna get wet, if that makes sense. So if you never take that leap of faith, you're not gonna, like, if you never take a leap of, like, if you never take that step, you're just kind of living your life in fear still. So let's go to the relationship part of this podcast today. So a lot of my friends have asked me, why aren't you in a relationship? Like, are you ready for one? All I'm gonna say is I feel like I personally, yes, I want a relationship, but I need a guy who is nice, willing to open door, be a gentleman, and also be a badass, if that makes sense. Not be a disrespectful person, be like, oh, I'm gonna open your door, I'm gonna give you a hand. I want that type. And I want a guy who's willing to go out in the desert and shoot guns with me. I want a guy who can fight for what's coming, you know? Sorry, my dog is literally having a little meltdown because my watch, and I totally forgot. So she's like chasing my watch and my phone reflection. Another thing, I feel like a lot of people also ask me a lot, do you like guys who are toxic? Do you like guys who fight for you? Like, if a guy fights for you, he's more showing his jealousy than he is showing his reassurance. Like, if I don't want a guy who won't let me go out and go hang out with certain friends. I want a guy who will not settle down, but will let me go be me, but also still be okay with me living the life I have before he came along. And also, I want a guy who's an athlete because I'm an athlete, and I love being outdoors, and I love just the outdoory type of me. I see it more frequently recently, and I feel like this podcast, the Real Talk podcast, is definitely a podcast where, like, I'm gonna start having friends join. I'm gonna start having people join, and I need you guys to ask me a bunch of questions. I'm so down. My brother Charlie and I are gonna probably do a podcast this weekend, an episode for next week, and hopefully. Ooh, and we just got a new question. I personally feel like everybody is gonna take a toll. Everybody's gonna not want the reassurance of, like, everybody doesn't want to hear the truth. As much as the truth hurts, at the end of the day, the truth is gonna set you free, and it's gonna, like, it's gonna set you free, and you're gonna enjoy the fact that life didn't just take a swing on you. Another few things that I like about life. Another life update, I did just apply to new jobs. I like where I'm working, but I'm not getting the hours. So that's another thing. Like, in 2024, I wanted to go to the gym. I wanted to go get my life back on track, where I was having an eating disorder. In the beginning of January, I struggled in public. Like, that's how bad my eating disorder is, or was. And I think part of me, like, has separation anxiety, and part of me also, my eating disorder comes from very toxic people, and when me and these toxic people are back interacting with each other, I'm more fucked up. I'm more gonna starve myself. I'm not gonna eat. And I grew up always caring about what other people think of me, but at the same time, I don't take the negativity. I'm like, okay, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. I don't care. But from my mom and I have had mutual conversations pretty much of, oh, how's your day? Life's good. That's about it. Only because I'm not ready for, oh, let's talk every day. Let's text every day. Let's communicate. Because one, she lied to me about my dad and lied about my life and hid a lot of things from me and treated me very, very differently than she treated my older sister and my younger brother. And I have 13 siblings, but 2 of them are biologically related to me, and my sister's wedding's coming up, and my sister and I have never always had, when we were younger, my sister's 7 years older than me, and I'm 4 years older than my younger brother, and I remember when we were really little, we were always by each other's side. I was always by her side. I always worshipped the ground she walked on. Like, I literally worshipped, like, I wanted to be just like her when I was younger. And part of me now, I like being independent. I like getting my stuff done. I like being organized. I like 2024 Caitlin's very different than 2023 Caitlin. I have everything organized in my room. Everything's nice and neat. Everything is so relaxing, and I feel so clean and, like, happy that I can start 2024 off with a clean start, a clean slate. And in 2024, I wanted to come into 2024, like the main goal in 2024 was I wanted to rekindle a relationship with my mom, but not so soon. Because at the same time, my mom will never ever admit she was wrong. People who don't respect boundaries are people who are going to break boundaries. People who don't respect boundaries are people who have lived very controlling lives, and that's something I cannot live. Like, I can't always be tied down. Like, I'm not somebody who can be tied down to a knot or tied down to one person. I'm the type of person who I have a mouth to put you where you belong. I have a mouth to put you where you should go. Just because I was taught to be respectful, I will be respectful. But if you're not going to treat me with the respect I deserve, I'm not going to give you the respect you think you deserve. Another thing I get asked all the time is, are you and your mom friends? Are you not? My mom and I will never be friends. She is my mom. My stepmom and I are friends, and she's also my stepmom. But I see her more as a stepmom than I see her as a friend. We got another question. You're super genuine. I love that. Thank you so much. Like, again, I'm very genuine. I care more about other people than I care about myself, just because I know what it's like to live in I know what it's like to feel like I know what it's like to feel left out or feel bullied or feel like it's all your fault in a relationship. I know what it feels like. And sometimes it can be your fault. But ladies and gents, we need to do better on not always being the one to apologize. We can't always be like, "Oh, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for that." If you didn't do anything, why are you the one apologizing? You shouldn't. You just shouldn't apologize. And part of me also is glad that I get to wake up and take my niece to school. Like, that's the kindness out of my heart. Like, I wake up at 7, take my niece to school when she's here at my dad's house, and I love it. I love it so much. It's literally the thing I wake up to do when she's over here. And, like, my stepmom told me the week that I was really struggling with my eating disorder and it was really, really bad. We need you. We need you. You're the glue that holds this family together. You're the glue that makes everybody, check in. You check in with every single person and make sure, oh, you're alive. Okay, just checking. And that's what I needed to hear, and that's why I feel like I know what it feels like to feel like you have to change who you are for somebody else to like you, because that's what I did for my mom to like me. I talked mad shit about my dad growing up, right when my parents got divorced, and I treated my dad like crap. I really did. And to this day, I will never, ever forgive myself for the way I treated my dad. Just because I was really rude. I was really rude to my stepmom. I remember my stepmom, I feel like me and my stepmom will have podcasts too. And I remember, I came home, or I got in trouble. I remember I got in trouble and I stomped my feet upstairs, and she goes, "I know, I'm the worst stepmom." I was like, "No, you're not. You're not the worst stepmom," and I slammed my door. Because she wasn't. She was giving me something that she was punishing me the way I was never punished before. Because I was punished so badly at my mom's house, I was never punished so nicely, if that makes sense. Like, my mom, when my brother would get in trouble for, I don't know, being rude to me, he would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go to my room." My mom would take me put me in my room, lock everything, lock me in my room. And it was terrible. And I remember like when I grow up, I was never going to be like my mom. But yes, some days I feel like I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God, I have my mom's like face. I have my mom's facial. Like, I I don't like being compared to somebody else. That's something I will never be okay with. I'm not the type of person who likes being controlled or being compared to somebody else. It's something that literally hurts my feelings so much is if I'm compared to, because I do work hard and I do like want a full-time job. I want this, I want that, I want to go to college, I want to put in the effort, I want to do more. um, I want to go get my learner's permit, and I'm going to go get my learner's permit in 2 weeks. And part of me, once I get that learner's permit, a month later, I'm gonna go get my license, and then I'm gonna save up, buy myself a car, get it insured. Like, I'm gonna put in the work I want to, if that makes sense. And part of me, it feels very let down that this is happening. Um, a lot of me is excited to go to my sister's wedding and be in that and be a part of it, but I'm also not expecting, like, I feel like I'm expecting my mom to be genuinely sweet and genuinely like happy, but I'm also not expecting her to be like, oh, come move back with me. Like, I have a boundary. I want it respected, and I have asked you not to talk to me. I start to cry just thinking about my mom, because yes, I do miss her, but I don't miss the way I was treated. Here at my dad's house, I'm home. I feel at home. When I'm away from my dad, it's not. I know this may sound like weird and like, grow the fuck up, Kaylin. No, like, when I'm away from my dad so far away, like, let's say I was in San Diego in June and July and of 2023, and I was so upset. I literally texted my dad every day. I was like, hi, how are you? Like, I made conversation. I have to be close to my dad. I am a daddy's girl. I have always been a daddy's girl. My dad is literally one of the, like, my best friends. Even though, like, he's not a best friend, he's a dad. He treats me like a kid. Or he treats me like an adult, but I'm his kid. So he punishes me. I mean, he doesn't punish me because I can't really be punished anymore now that I'm an adult. But at the same time, my dad makes sure that I can take the time, take the effort into talking about this, because on the Real Talk podcast, we're talking about real things and real sports and this, that, and whatever. And we're always going to have a special guest starting, I think, starting this coming up weekend. We're going to have a special guest, my brother, and we're going to really actually dive into sports. And we're going to get that, because my brother and I also have another podcast. It's literally the best podcast, like we just started uploading, so that's really nice, and I'm really excited. And I'm just excited this weekend because I get to go to this horse show, and hopefully I get to see and Thursday I get to go to this my old high school cheer tournament, because this is a cheer I created, and it means a lot to me that I'm a part of that, since we couldn't do it last year. And another thing is, I always am going to show my support in all my friends who I graduated with and I looked up to, and they looked up to me. Like, I was the popular girl. And all I can say is, the relationships that you put yourself through, they may be toxic, but at the end of the day, you have to stick your ground. You have, like, I'm gonna voice my opinion, and if you don't like that, you're calling me crazy. So I remember I was voicing my opinion to my stepdad one time, and he called me crazy. So did my mom. I will voice my opinion, and you're calling me crazy. You're calling me crazy when you're coming at me for no reason. I am gonna voice it. I'm gonna make it clear. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna say something, but I will be respectful. But if you're not respectful to me, I don't give two craps. I'm gonna treat you the way you treated me in that moment. I'm a very genuine person, and it's very true. I'm a very nice person. I, like, out of the kindness of my heart, I go get my niece when her dad's here, when and I take her to school on her dad's time. I take her out of the kindness of me, and I don't get paid. Obviously, family comes first all the time for me. Everybody before, I put everybody before I put myself all the time. And my stepmom was telling me we need you, you need to get your life back to what it was 4 years ago, where you were healthy, you weren't struggling, you were working out every day, you were a perfect athlete. Get that Caitlin back. And obviously Valentine's Day is tomorrow as well, and I was like, okay. So I have these photo frames, these wooden frames, and I wrote something really sweet on for my stepmom because I wanted to do something for her because part of me loves her to death. I do. She's probably a parent. She's a parent that my dad is a dad that will make you feel at home. He will make you feel loved. He will make you feel like you have walked into a castle. And when my friends come over summer and they're like, I'm coming back over. I'm coming back. You can count on it. It makes me so happy because there's not a lot of guys who do what my dad does. There's not a lot of guys who will make food for an entire fire team. There's not a lot of dads who are gonna buy a neighbor's kid's shoes because there's a hole and they can't afford it. That's my dad. My dad will make you feel at home. He will make a room for you. My dad will make room for you. And I think that's what I want to see in a man. That's what I want in a relationship, is my dad. I want my dad's personality. I want my dad's actions in a relationship. I want a guy who's gonna put everybody before he puts himself. Just because that shows me you care so deeply about somebody else that you are gonna take the time. You are gonna put in the effort. And that just makes me really happy. Another question I get asked all the time, how do you live with all the hate? You can't let the negativity or the hate bring you down, because the more it brings you down, the worse you're gonna feel about yourself, and the harder it's gonna take you to get out of bed. Get out of bed and want to be motivated to do something. The reason I want to go get a full-time job is so then I can live on my own, have my own life, have my horses. I have always loved horses. That's the only way I could cope and could talk. Especially on the Real Talk podcast, there's no hate. This is literally uncut, unfiltered, for your pleasure, and I try so hard to make it so that a lot of you guys understand what I went through, what my lifestyle is. My lifestyle is I'm a very outgoing person. This summer, I already know we're going to the beach, we're going to the boat, we're going on our boat, we're gonna be on the lake. we are those types of people who will invite friends. Like, my dad will let us invite like 7 friends and be like, let's go on the boat. Like, that's how I was always taught. Like, I was always taught by my dad, not by my mom, but I was always taught by my dad to put other people before myself, which is probably why I care so much about other people's feelings before I care about my feelings. Like, I will always be the one to apologize in my mom and my sister's relationships with me. I will always apologize. I will always say I'm sorry. I used to always say I'm sorry. I was always the first one said I'm sorry. Like, yeah, you're right. It was me. I got better at not apologizing and not expecting an apology. Like, if you're in a relationship where the person is disrespecting your boundaries, like, for instance, I went through a relationship where my mom wasn't respecting my boundary. She prayed over me when I didn't want to be prayed over. Like, I am a Christian, but I only like certain people praying over me, like being in my bubble. I don't like my stepdad, and I'm not gonna, like, I'll say hi. I will be respectful, but I don't like you. Like, if I don't like, I'm not a judgmental person at all. So if I don't like you, none of my family is gonna like you. They wait until my opinion. They wait for my opinion, and they're gonna wait. And if they don't like you, they're not gonna like you. So I think this. So this podcast, I feel like this week we're talking about relationships. We've been talking about, like, obviously relationships and how to cope with everything. And I feel like we kind of went on and on about, like, relationships. Like, we just did a big life update. Stay tuned for next week's episode. We're going to be talking, hopefully we'll have my brother before, hopefully we can film that. But again, this week's episode, I really do love all of you. I really appreciate every single one of you guys. And I hope you guys stay tuned for next week's episode. Hopefully we upload it on Monday. I know it's been a fat minute. I'm so sorry. But thank you guys so much, babes. I love y'all, and I love you, loves. Stay tuned, besties, because we're about to get real into it next week about sports. Thank you guys so much, and I hope you guys all enjoy next week's episode.